This hiker risked his life to save a wolf, but the next day he disappeared. In 2013, experienced hiker Jake Carter was out exploring the woods when he heard a desperate cry for help. At first he thought it was a coyote, but then he saw a wolf stranded on a cliffside, unable to get down. Without hesitation, Jake dropped everything and rushed to help the animal. As he approached the edge of the cliff, the wolf let out a terrifying growl, showing its sharp teeth and claws. But Jake was determined to help. He slowly and carefully made his way down the cliff and managed to get the wolf's attention. In a moment of bravery, Jake reached out and grabbed the wolf by the scruff of its neck, pulling it away from the edge. As he did, the crowd gasped in suspense. Would the wolf attack him? But instead of attacking, the wolf looked at Jake with gratitude in its eyes and then vanished into the forest. Jake was left alone on the cliffside, confused and scared. But the next morning, something incredible happened. The wolf returned, this time with a small, playful puppy. It was then that Jake realized the wolf had saved his life. Please, help. Stranded on a cliff edge in the wilderness, Jake Carter's heart raced as he looked down at the injured wolf. Its paw was stuck on a rock at the bottom of the cliff, unable to climb back up. With its thick fur and powerful jaws, the wolf was clearly in distress. And as an experienced tracker and hunter, Jake knew that if he didn't help the animal, it would die. Despite the danger, Jake, who was in his 30s, athletic and rugged with short brown hair and a weathered face, took off his thick jacket, tied it around his waist, and began his descent. The wind snatched at his cargo pants and hiking boots as he moved closer to the edge. Below him, the wolf whimpered, sensing Jake's presence. Taking a deep breath, Jake jumped onto a ledge just above the wolf's head and reached out a hand towards the struggling animal. Its eyes, wide with fear and pain, locked onto Jake's as if pleading for help. With a surge of adrenaline, Jake pulled the wolf back onto the ledge, its body trembling with exhaustion and pain. As the wind howled around them, Jake Carter knew that this was only the beginning of their struggle to survive the night. The vast forest and towering mountain peaks disappearing into the dark clouds above, he had no choice but to press on. The wind is really picking up now, and it's pushing against me. Jake carefully makes his way down the steep, rocky cliffside. His muscles flex under his jacket as he moves with calculated precision. The camera zooms in on his focused expression as his boots grip the rocks. The wolf's position is now more visible. It's clearly injured, but it's still struggling to get away. The environment is rough, jagged rocks and a cascade of small waterfalls trickling down the cliffside. The sky is darkening even more, adding to the peril of the situation. The wind is howling around Jake now, pushing against him, trying to knock him off balance. And just like that, the wolf disappears from view. Is it trying to hide, or is it making a run for it? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Jake slid down the last few feet to the bottom of the cliff and approached the wolf, who was now visibly trembling. Its eyes were wide with fear, and its fur, a mix of white and gray, was matted from the struggle. Cautiously, Jake knelt down and slowly extended his hand toward the animal. His face was etched with concern and his eyes filled with compassion. The wolf whimpered softly, backing away slowly. In the background, the dark trees loomed like silent giants, their branches clawing at the sky. Behind them, the cliffside was a sheer drop, a reminder of the danger they were in. But, for a moment, all that faded away. The only thing that remained was the sound of the wind, the rustling of leaves and the beating of Jake's heart as he reached out to the trembling wolf. And then, just as suddenly, a small beam of sunlight broke through the clouds above them, illuminating Jake and the wolf in a golden light. It was a moment of hope in a sea of despair, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, light can still be found. No, don't look away. Please don't look away. Now, carefully holding the wolf in his arms, Jake begins to climb back up the cliff. His face is determined yet gentle as he supports the animal. The wolf seems to relax in his arms, no longer struggling. The camera captures the intensity of the moment as Jake ascends the treacherous cliff. The rocks and sharp edges threatening to tear at his clothes, his boots slipping on the wet surface. But behind them, above them, the sky is lightening. Hope is returning. The dark forest behind them is filled with tall, ancient trees that seem to watch over the scene, adding an air of mystery and intrigue to this already suspenseful moment. Will Jake make it? Will he reach the top of the cliff? And what will happen when he does? Stay tuned to find out. He finally reached the top of the cliff. Jake was breathing heavily. He set the wolf down on a patch of grass, and the wolf, who was calm now, no longer struggling, looked at Jake with what appeared to be gratitude in its eyes. Just as Jake started to catch his breath, the wolf slowly backed away. It turned its head towards the dark forest behind them and let out a low growl. Jake's heart skipped a beat. Was it growling at him? Was it warning him? The wolf stood still for a moment. Then it was gone, vanishing into the trees. Jake was left with a mix of relief and wonder. The forest was alive with the sound of birds singing. The wind had calmed and the sun was shining through the trees. It was a beautiful day to be alive. Several days later, Jake is sitting by a campfire near the edge of the forest. The night is cool and a soft breeze rustles the trees. The forest is dense with shadows stretching across the ground. Suddenly, the wolf steps into the campfire light. It's healthy, its fur shiny and strong. Jake stands up, startled but filled with awe. The wolf takes a step closer, its tail still tucked between its legs. But there's no fear in its eyes. It's cautious, yes, but it's also curious. And then the most amazing thing happens. The wolf takes another step closer and nuzzles against Jake's hand. The look in its eyes is deep, like it's trying to convey something important, like it recognizes Jake as a friend. The fire crackles, casting a warm glow across the scene as the wolf lets out a soft whine. And for a moment, Jake feels a connection with this animal that he's never felt before. The forest was silent. Jake knelt down to the wolf, who stood up on its hind legs and looked him in the eye. For a moment, time seemed to stand still. Jake felt a connection with this wolf like he'd never felt before. Then the wolf opened its mouth as if to speak. Jake's eyes widened in shock. A mystical aura began to surround the wolf, glowing faintly. The forest behind them seemed to come alive, the trees gently swaying in the breeze. An ethereal light filled the clearing, illuminating the wolf's fur, making it glow. The wolf took a deep breath and spoke, its voice echoing with power. "Listen, Jake, I have a message for you." Jake listened intently, his heart pounding in his chest. The wolf continued, its voice soft yet commanding. "You are not alone. There is magic in this world, and you have the power to tap into it." The wolf took a step forward, its glowing eyes boring into Jake's soul. Now, kneeling before the majestic creature, Jake felt a profound sense of awe wash over him. The wolf's voice, rich and deep, echoed through the forest. "You are not worthy." With each word, the wolf radiated an otherworldly aura, its eyes blazing like twin stars in the night sky. As Jake looked up, he saw the moonlight filtering through the trees, casting long shadows and creating a mystical glow. The forest held its breath, the trees standing tall and silent as if guarding the clearing. A deep stillness settled over the clearing, broken only by the sound of the wolf's voice, and in that moment Jake was lost for words. He could only stare in amazement at the wolf's glowing eyes and listen to its every word as it shared its ancient wisdom. The forest around them seemed to be a part of this magical, mystical experience. It was as if the wolf, the forest, and the moonlight had conspired to create this perfect, awe-inspiring moment. The wolf slowly turns and walks into the forest, its glowing eyes fading as it disappears into the trees. Jake watches as the last of the light disappears from the wolf's eyes, and he lets out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. He looks down at the camera in his hand, then back at the forest, a mixture of gratitude and confusion on his face. The camera zooms out to show the vastness of the forest and the glowing eyes of the wolf, which are now barely visible as it vanishes into the trees. The night settles around Jake and the sounds of the forest return to their natural rhythm. Birds tweeting, crickets chirping. Jake stands up, brushes himself off, and looks up at the stars. He takes a deep breath and smiles. What an incredible experience. This is the last camera footage from Jake's channel. If you want to see what happened next, stay tuned for more updates.